Hi, how you doing? I'm Tim Carter, and I'm trying to adjust my machine here. Um, it's great to be here today, and I'm glad you're here too. So thanks very much for joining the live stream today. And it's going to be a really pretty good one, I think. I'm pretty excited about showing you this new mechanics tool set. I'll talk about it in a few minutes. But before we go any farther, let's thank today's sponsor, Stain Solver. Great company. I own it with my wife. It's a magic certified organic oxygen bleach, and it's a powder that you mix with warm or hot water, and you get this solution. It looks just like water, and all I can tell you is that it cleans just about anything. And I mean, it'll get out stains that other things will not get out. It'll get out tough, like if you've ever spilled red wine on a tablecloth or on a carpet, you know how hard that is to get out. Well, stain solver gets it out. It's not even a problem. It's color safe. It's fabric safe. It's really, really a good product. That's great. I'll just applause from studio audience. it's it is a really good product. I'm telling you, we've been selling it for 25 years, and I should have worked harder in that business. Be honest with you. Um, here's actually it's kind of an interesting business lesson here if you want to know the truth. So here I start as the builder all those years ago back in 1993. I start online in 1995 and was all excited about it. You know, I had built my whole career. That was my passion. And then I start this tiny little cottage business, stain solver. Well, I didn't take any business classes in college, and if I could go back in time, I would have. And anyway, the the lesson is most businesses would give their eye teeth to know the name, address, phone number, email address of their customers. I mean, that's why a lot of these big companies started these quote unquote loyalty programs. Maybe your grocery has one where if you give your name and address and whatever an email address, then you get this little card, and every time you buy groceries, you get some money off, you know. So they want to be able to contact you. Think how many businesses have have customers walk in each day, buy things, and then they walk out the door. They have no idea who their customers are, but they wish they knew who they were so that they could remarket to them and let them know about deals and sales and all this other stuff. All right. Well, think of Ask the Builder. I don't have a clue who comes to my website each day. I don't have a clue who you are if you're watching my videos. You're invisible. But with Stain Solver, I know everybody. So I should have put a lot more time in stain solver. Doesn't matter. Water over the dam. It's a lesson learned. All right. Hi, Dustin. How you doing? Um, oh, yeah. You're going to see this socket set here in a minute, and no doubt it's made in China. I don't know. It's a shame that they don't make them in Gastonia, North Carolina anymore. Oh well. But stand by. We're going to talk about it in just a minute. So anyway, stain solver, great product. Um, you just go to the Stain Solver website and look at all the videos. Type in a keyword phrase like pet odor, carpet. Actually, that's a really interesting one. Type in carpet and look at the before and after pictures that Justin sent in. He's a professional carpet cleaner that uses Stain Solver. This photo that he sent in, I would have just ripped the carpet out. I would have given it no hope. Wait till you see the before and the after. It's amazing. All right, let's talk about this crazy Craftsman 216 piece mechanic set. All right, I've told you before on previous live streams, I get contacted almost daily by public relations people. They're trying to pitch the company products. You know, either they work for the company or they represent the company. Over the 20 It's really hard to believe. Over the 28 years I've been doing Ask the Builder, I have learned, or I should say, I have discovered the best way to sort the wheat from the chaff. And most of the PR people I deal with, they're not great. All right, so it doesn't matter. Uh, all that matters is in this particular instance, about 2 weeks ago, when someone from Stanley Black& Decker reached out to me, they're the ones who now own the Craftsman brand. They had a list of these tools that they're trying to promote for Christmas, and some of them I didn't care about, but the one I cared just was yesterday, that 20-volt toolkit I showed yesterday, and this mechanics set, because just about everybody needs a set of sockets around their home. So let's look at it. Let's look at it. First of all, I'll lift up the whole thing so you see it. I have to stand up because it's so flipping heavy. All right. So it comes, you got to see this. It comes in this, it's got a big handle, and it's part of their whole latching system with all their other storage stuff. So, and there you can see there's 3 separate drawers, 3/8, quarter, and a half inch. Now let's take each drawer out and see what it looks like. This thing must weigh 30, 40 pounds. Got all this metal in it. All right, so, and here's one thing I like about this, and this is, I can go back in time, even just 5 years ago, and show you that most of the socket kits that I got, even from Craftsman years ago, they're just a case that opens up. It flips open, awesome, big deal. But they really were smart, in my opinion, by putting it in this like miniature tool case with a set of drawers. It really, they've conserved space. That's the biggest thing I like about it, just so you know. The fact that you have all of this stuff in this very small area, and it's organized by size, by the 3/8 is in one drawer, the 1/4 inch is another, the half is another. So here, so it's got safety tabs. I can't really show you this, I'm sorry. You just have to trust me. If you try to pull the drawer out, it won't work. You have to depress these 2 safety handles on each side that lock the drawer in place. But the drawers come completely out, which is wonderful. And here is the 3/8. So you can see all of the sockets, all of the adapters, extensions that come with the 3/8. There's both SAE and metric sizes here. All right, so like 19 millimeters down to 10 millimeters, 13/16 all the way down to 1/4 inch, and all the small little ones. And these are 6-point sockets. All right, these in the set. All right, so that's pretty handy. And of course they're beautiful, nice and shiny. But it's a shame they're not made in North Carolina. I would have much rather paid an extra $20 or $30 for this set if it was made in USA. I can tell you that. Here's the 1/4 inch drawer. All kinds of interesting stuff in it. You can see all the different sockets, all the different extensions, adapters, hex wrenches, a screwdriver type set with all those different bits, Torx, Phillips, hex bits. Surprisingly, I do not see a Phillips. Oh, there's one Phillips, a Phillips number 2. They've got one. They got a number 1, a number 2, and a number 3. I would have put twice that amount in, but what do I know? But all your different Torx heads. So that's pretty handy. And then, last but not least, the 1/2 inch. So here's 1/2 inch with a 1/2 inch ratchet extension, all your sockets, some open-end wrenches, a set of open-end wrenches. I'm not going to get them out of the plastic bags right now. So very, very nice. It said on the box, which I don't have up here, it said on the box, comes with a lifetime warranty. That was the original Craftsman warranty. I mean, back when I started in the business in 1974, just about every Craftsman tool, I think, had a lifetime warranty. And most of the times I never had to use it. I think in my entire life, I've only cracked one socket, and that was probably my fault. I put way too much pressure on it. So anyway, so what do you think this cost? You might have gone ahead and looked online. First of all, you can only get it, I believe, at Lowe's. Stanley Black & Decker has got some kind of secret deal with Lowe's to give them exclusivity. And I went to the Lowe's website to look at it, and I was stunned at the price. I'm telling you, I was stunned. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about China, but let's talk about the price first. $99. $99 for this entire kit. All right. And they had here's my notes. They had there at the site at Lowe's a Craftsman Okay, remember this is 216 pieces. I know all those little bits count for one. I get it. I get it. Uh, they had an 81 piece set for $69. All right, think about that. You get you get 150 more pieces or so. Not 150, 130 more pieces for just 30 more dollars. So it's really an incredible deal. I hate to say it. I mean, I know. Yeah, there you go, Carlton. 129.98. That might have been its MSRP, but for now, trying to get the push out for Christmas, it's $99. So if you know anyone, some young person who now would I use these? It's just like we talked yesterday about the 20-volt Craftsman power tools. I don't know that there's a mechanic. There might be. I don't know that there's a mechanic that would use these every day if they're living dependent upon it. I think that they might use snap-on tools and actually, Dustin, you might jump in here. You're probably are you is your plant down in Gastonia? Are they still making the sockets? Do they make them for snap-on? Because my guess would be the steel's a little better, the tolerances are a little tighter, down to the thousandth of an inch, and really professional mechanics. They want to have really, really good tools. All right, so um, this set for an average homeowner, an average non-serious DIYer, it's an incredible deal. I mean, I still have my dad's Craftsman ratchet and sockets from when he got them, probably in the early 1960s. In fact, I still have his original metal Craftsman toolbox that they came in. All right. So they've served me well all these years. Wow. The plant closed. That's unacceptable. I know why. It's a big geopolitical, big stuff happening way above us that's causing that to happen. But here's a little history lesson for what it's worth. I don't know that this is going to take the pain away. I happen to like history a lot. I read a lot of history books, and I think a lot of people don't and this is poignant because of where I live right now. So I live in central New Hampshire, and if we could get into a time machine now, get this: if you were to come to New Hampshire right now, about 85% of the state is forested. I mean, big trees, 100 feet tall. There are trees everywhere. All right. But if we could get into a time machine and go back to 1850, most of the trees were gone. And imagine how big those original growth trees were. Huge. Okay, so what happened? Why were the trees gone? All right, so think about this. What was in New England in the mid 1800s? What would you find in every town that had a river coming through it? All right, you'd find a mill, right? I can get you in a car if you were to come here. I mean, first of all, we just go down to Laconia, which is the closest town to me. You'll see mills. I'll take you to actually Meredith, the town that I live in. The old mill is in Meredith, and I can show you the old mill and show you where they actually got the water coming out of Lake Waukee to power the big paddle wheel that powered the mill. Just I can show you countless mills. What were they doing? They were making woolen gloves and clothes and blankets. They were making shoes do you know? The Europeans. So back between 1850 or so, 1840, and then it really started to ramp up after the Civil War. The United States of America was the China of the world. Okay, so we were the China. Ships would come here empty. They would just be loaded with a bunch of granite cobblestones for ballast. And then they would go back. They would unload the granite out of the hold. That's why all the streets in Savannah are granite cobblestones. Those came out of the ships from Europe. And you'll see that same thing in many coastal towns here in America, all these granite cobblestone streets. Well, they got free paving, right? So anyway, The same thing's happening now. In other words, the ships that go back to China are empty, and, but they don't have cobblestones in them. But they come back here with all those containers on them. Okay, so I'm not trying to say China's doing the right thing. I'm just trying to say that things happen. The mills of the gods grind slowly but thoroughly. All right. So, and what happened is our standard of living here in America got too high because if you look at this from a business perspective, there are people across the world who are happy to work each day for 1/4 of what you make because they have different buying power in their country. So and it's a very complex situation. I'm not an MBA. I'm not an expert on foreign trade. I'm just trying to tell you, just follow the money. That's all it is. But it's a shame. And I blame a lot of our politicians for why Dustin's plant closed in the mid 2000s. That's just unacceptable. It's just unacceptable. And anyway, so back to the toolkit. Are you going to use it every day? Well, even if you do and you keep breaking sockets, I guess you can go back to Sears and get one. But all I can tell you is that for $99, it's pretty tough to beat. It is what it is. And and there's a lot of things that all of us use each day that are made in China. It is what it is. But hopefully more and more things. Well, not stain solver. Stain solver made in the United States with USA ingredients. There's only 2 ingredients, both of them made in the USA. The primary active ingredient is made at a plant down in Houston, and the soda ash, which is certified organic, it comes out of the purest mine in Wyoming, purest soda ash plant in the world, and mine, I should say, mine. So anyway, all right, Dustin. Oh yeah, I remember you. Yeah, the mowing plant. Are you kidding me too? Oh man, that is unacceptable. So Dustin, I met Dustin. I thought the name was familiar. Thanks, Dustin, for being here. Thanks for adding that. So Dustin's an engineer. He's on my newsletter list, and I had mentioned that I was going to be traveling down in that part of the nation, and Dustin was kind enough to invite me to do a plant tour of the Moen factory, and where they made faucets, and it was fascinating. It was a fascinating factory tour. What I especially liked, Dustin, was the dipping tanks where the finished parts of the faucets got their chrome or whatever finish they had on them, and how that was done mechanically, how all the parts were on these racks, they got dipped into the chemical. That was amazing. I mean, for somebody who's never been in a manufacturing facility, that's really it's really interesting to see how that's done and can be done on a in a way that you can afford to sell the faucet for $200 or whatever. And and you've got 2 people in that chain that are making money, potentially 2 other companies. So what a shame that plant is uh maybe you're cursed. I don't think so. No, are you still working for the company? What are you doing now? I mean, are you still employed by what's going on? I mean, I'm not trying to be too personal, but um I, there are many of us that don't like the fact that this stuff went over to China. I mean, I'm just telling you, it's not a good thing at all. It's not a good thing. But the problem is that it's a very complex situation for money. Hi, William. How you doing? It's just it's so complex that I mean, I've never studied it, but I just tell you that it's always about money. That's all I can tell you. So you're not cursed, by the way, Dustin. It's not that at all. So anyway, uh, I have to. Uh, so which faucets are made in the USA? Well, I would assume that Kohler is still making their stuff up in Wisconsin. That they still have a big plant making faucets. I would think if Moen is now being outsourced to China, that tells me that I would just assume that Delta is being made in China. And I won't even mention the one faucet that's just total crap. It's got to be made in China. It's just that what I call the entry level faucet. I would never put one in my house. It's two words, and I'm not going to say what it is. So I don't want to help him at all. And I just, so that should be a big enough clue, 2 words. So anyway, it's just really a shame. So this toolkit, if you're tight on money, and you're not going to use them every day, I think you're going to find it really, really hard to beat this deal. So I can tell you. So, uh, you know, and just realize that lots and lots of what you buy is being made in China. So anyway, and one of the key things you have to watch on the labeling, I think, is that where the manufacturers have been sensitive to this is that I forget how the wording states, but they will state on a label of a product like assembled in the United States, but sourced with international components or parts. So you may buy a product that you think is made in America, but it's not. I mean, you have to look up the definition of the word "made," and to me, made in America means that they take the raw materials and do whatever they have to do and to get a finished product. That's what it means to me. Assembled means something entirely different. All right, so I hope that answers your question. If you have any questions at all about your home, now's the time to ask them. Love to answer any of the questions about your house and uh, do whatever I can to save you time and money, because that is the name of the game. Because let me tell you, I've been reading, I like to read a lot about business and finance and what's really going on. I think that the inflation that's going on right now is being understated. It's like the mainstream media doesn't really want to talk about it, and it's not going to get any better. All right. So that that means bad things for you if you're on a fixed income, um, if you just have savings, because inflation is eating away at so if you have $100 in the bank and the inflation this year is 5%, at the end of a year, your $100, even though it's still $100, it's really only worth $95. All right. So, I mean, that's just basic math. It's a little bit more complex than that. But you start compounding that inflation and it gets out of control really quickly. One of the things, if you don't pay attention to this, you probably you should probably start reading a few articles about it. You should be really paying attention to the US dollar and the world reserve currency. I mean, you're thinking, what does this have to do with the flipping home improvement live stream? It has everything to do with it. It has everything to do with it because you need to make sure that you'll have enough money to be able to repair your home, and you need to be prepared to potentially do some of the work yourself. So remember last week, here's a great example of this. Hey, Dustin. Okay, I'm going to get to that question in just a second. Remember, and I'll just end with this. Remember last week, I was talking about this young woman in Schenectady, New York, and I had done a phone consult with her, 45 minutes. And she needs to build a dormer on her home, and she's going to do it herself. And she may have a few helpers here and there, but this young woman, she's going to start it in the spring. I told her, hold off on this. Don't even think about doing it in bad weather in the wintertime. So, but the point I'm trying to make is she can't find anybody to do the job in Schenectady. They're all too busy, or they're not interested in this small job. So if you're in a similar situation, you've got two choices. Either the job doesn't get done, or you're going to try to learn how to do it. And fortunately, you've got the live stream here. Fortunately, you've got my website. There's other resources on the internet. There are lots of videos on YouTube. Some of them might not be so good. So you have to watch the information that you get. Understand this. Here's a little tip. You may not be aware of this, but our industry, I'm going to call it the home improvement, home building industry, has got probably about 70 or 80 associations. And an association is a conglomeration of manufacturers in a group. For example, Dustin may speak to this. There might have been it might have been an overarching association, but of all the faucet manufacturers, they might kind of band together, kick some money into a kitty, and then this association spreads the good word about faucets, what makes a good faucet, and why you should, how you take care of your faucets. All right. So, whatever project you're starting on or whatever materials you're using, go online and try to see if there's an association that can give you a bunch of really great free information. For example, in Dustin's case, I'm going to answer his question right now. There's like the Southern Forest Products Association. So Southern Forest, that's a hard association. You would never know to look for that. But what you could type into Google would be Treated Lumber Association. All right, boom, they're going to pop up. You would just type in whatever you're looking for, like Faucet Association or Roofing Shingle Association. All right, so you get where I'm going here. Do that. Get some of this free information that may help you make a really good choice on what to do. All right, let's go to Dustin's question. I need to replace my back deck. The wood is rotting out. I'm strongly considering Trex. Would you think that the cost of Trex over wood is worth the investment? This is a ground level deck, 50 by 15. Oh, okay, a great question. Great, an excellent question. It just so happens I put Trex Transcend, which is their high-level product, on 2 original decks here on my house, Dustin. They are 65 feet long, 10 feet wide. And then I built, and luckily my one deck is 13 feet off the ground. That's pretty tall, maybe 14 feet. Anyway, that allowed me to put an intermediary deck that was like 3 feet, 35 inches below the top deck, so that I and that was 16 by 24. And that one is also Trex. All right. So you ask, is it worth the investment? So here's the first of all, let me tell you this. In the 5 years I've had my Trex deck, I have not done one thing to it. I have not even hosed it off. And it looks like the day I installed it. All right. So it is almost maintenance free. The only thing that's not is here in New Hampshire, where I live, it doesn't happen every year, but some years we have really bad pollen. I'm sure there's pollen each year, but some years it's so bad that when the wind blows and I look up the lake, it looks like there's a forest fire. I mean, there's smoke. It looks like smoke, but it's really pollen. Well, the pollen collects on the top of the handrail, and then when it rains, it'll wash it down the sides. And I've been a little bad about going out there and just kind of brushing it off and washing it. So that's the only thing I would have to do to my Trex deck, is just every spring, once the pollen season is over, wash the sides of the handrail, which probably takes a whopping 20 minutes. All right. So Trex, it's wonderful. Now, to answer your question, is it worth it? All right, you've got to do some hard math, and you're an engineer, so this is easy for you. You guys all had to take all your calculus. You have to really do a hard look at how long are you going to be in the home, because that is important. Because if you look at the cost of buying wood and then what it costs to maintain the wood every 2 years, because every 2 years you've got to seal it. And a lot of work to clean and seal wood decks. I mean, when you're young, you've got all that energy. Me, I'm not doing it anymore. All right. So you need to hopefully you're going to stay put for a while to make it worth it, is all I can say. Because if you go to sell your home, my guess would be, I was a broker in Ohio for 25 years. I would just guess that you would be lucky to get 50% on whatever you paid for that Trex. I mean, a buyer's just not going to give you full price. So only you can answer it by how long you're going to stay in the house. One thing I'll tell you, if you do go with the Trex, take the time and, first of all, make sure that the joists are 16 inches on center. Wherever every 4 feet, you have to screw a 2x4, a treated lumber 2x4, and you got to make sure it's perfectly flush with the top of the joist. You have to screw it all the way from each end, from end to end. And the reason why is that when you butt, here I'm going to do my hand, when you butt two pieces of the Trex Transcend together, they want it to bear on 1.5 inches of surface. All right, so they don't want you to just take one joist and then create the gap and just have 3/4 of an inch or 5/8 bearing on that. So you've got to put in. So you just have to read the instructions. But the other thing you need to do is, trust me, it's worth the time doing this. You need to take a straight edge, a long, really good straight edge. You need to do whatever you have to do to get the top of those floor joists in the same plane. I'm serious, in the same plane. Doesn't mean that the deck's got to be level. You know what I'm talking about, Dustin. It just has to be as if the deck joists were steel studs that had no crown, that were just perfectly straight. You take that extra day or two and cut off the crowns or lightly shim the joists that might need some shimming. It will pay off in spades. So make sure that the top of that deck is all in the same plane. The number 2 thing, once you get it there, make sure you watch my video about the deck joist tape. So this is newer technology, about 6-7 years old. It's just a tape. It looks like wide electrical tape. And you want to put it on the top of the joists before you put the decking down. Because what it does is it stops water from getting into where the fastener hole is. And believe me, water does get in there and it will start to rot out the joist. So you do not want to spend all this money on Trex and then have your joist start to rot out. All right, so put that joist tape on. Really simple to do, pretty inexpensive, great product. All right, let's see if we got any other questions. All right, Will, let's see. Remember, if you've got a question about your home, just put it in the chat. I'll do my best to answer it. That's why I'm here. That's why I've said this every live stream. I'm doing these live streams to answer your questions. I'm not doing them to hear me blabber on about stuff. who wants that? All right. So, is radon still a major concern in the basement? If so, what are some preventative measures we should take? So, yes, it depends on where you live. You can go online. You can look at radon maps. It affects tens of millions of people in America. Tens of millions of people. What we did in new construction, it's a really easy thing to deal with. And here's what we did at my daughter's home that I built up in. I didn't build it. I helped build it. I did all the plumbing, electric, and radiant heating, and put in the combi boiler. I specified that in the crawl space of her home, that they put in a system of perforated drain pipe, the same type of pipe that you would put around a foundation to get water away. So imagine on the inside of the footing, you completely surround the whole basement with this pipe. All right. And then you can put T-fittings in every 10 or 15 feet. And then you can cross over and connect it to the other side of the house so that you basically have a grid, just like I don't know, kind of like not really a crossword puzzle, but more, I'll tell you what, it would look like the rack in your oven, an oven rack. All right. So think of what an oven rack looks like. It's completely rectangular, and then it's got pieces of chrome plated steel that go side to side. All right. So then you only have to have one. Then you take one pipe, you connect off of, you have a riser pipe, make sure it's plumb, a 4-inch regular PVC pipe that sticks up, I don't know, 3 feet above the concrete floor for now. And just make sure it's plumb. And then when they pour the concrete floor in the basement or the crawl space, just make sure it's plumb. All right. They don't bump it. All right. Now what happens is the house is being built, and you want a strategic, it doesn't matter where you put this 4-inch pipe in the system. It does not matter at all. I mean, if it was me, you want to locate it in the basement or crawl space, someplace where it can very easily work its way up to the roof through an interior wall, which means you're going to have to either make a chase in a closet or whatever. but you want it to be a 4-inch pipe. And then this pipe just goes all the way up to the roof, and you just treat it like a regular plumbing vent pipe. And every time the wind blows across the roof, which is most of the time, and Dustin will appreciate this being an engineer, it creates the Venturi effect and it sucks the radon out of the pipe. All right. So you don't need a fan. You don't need any of that. So can you do this in existing construction? No, it's really hard. I mean, you'd be tearing up your basement floor. So in an existing home, I think all I would do is you can buy the radon little detectors to see what your deal is. I would just buy a couple of these radon kits, test, read up on the best way to do a valid test to see if it's even a problem. And then go look at the European standards. Look at what the European standards are for radon versus the United States. They're much less stringent. I don't think people over in Europe are dropping dead every day, thousands of people from lung cancer. So, I think maybe the radon limit here in the United States is a little too stringent. But there are some companies that will put they'll put like an extraction fan in. They'll suck the radon out from under the slab, but that's only going to work if there's gravel under the concrete slab. So not always easy to do after the fact. All right, so that's a great question, Will. Great question. If you have any other questions, type them in. I'm going to answer them the best I can. I just want to let you know, today the live stream absolutely is going to end at 10 till 5. I've got a hard break. I've got to jump on a call at 5 p.m. Eastern. So I'm going to be getting out of here, at 4:50. So anyway, just so you know, just a little heads up. Drinking a little hot tea today. Okay. Any other questions about your home? Just put them in the chat. Happy to help. And remember, if you like what you're hearing here, like what you're seeing, you know what to do. Hit the like button. Like buttons really help. And believe me, after the first of the year, I think things are going to happen that I'm going to have really some great software that I'm going to be able to do some screen sharing with you, and I'll be in a completely different environment. So I won't be up here in my man cave. So I think it's going to look a lot better. And not that we can really do any demos, although we might be able to. I might be able to set up a little camera on a tripod and switch between cameras. We'll see. All I can tell you is it would be so much nicer if I had an assistant here that could do that. Well, actually, to do it right, you really need a camera person, and you need a videographer, and you need a director who's just like in a newsroom that's making the things happen on the screen. And I used to work at the ABC and NBC affiliates in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I have been inside the control room where they control what you see on a regular news broadcast. And I can tell you that it is a really high stress environment. There's a lot of screaming and yelling going on. And I don't know what the burnout rate is on the person who actually is hitting the buttons, because it's very high stress. So, there's a lot of magic going on, is all I can tell you. Hi, Carlton. Have I used Schluter waterproofing system in a bathroom? Yes. Well, yes. I didn't put it all in. I put in some of it in my daughter's master shower. It's a beautiful walk-in shower in her new home up in Bar Harbor. We went with the full-blown package, where Schluter, very, very good system, very, how do I want to say it, modular. They have these preformed, perfectly shaped, sloped shower pans, different sizes. So you create the size of the rough opening of the walls to match the thing that you put in the bottom. And then the plumber, which was me, I have to thin set in a special round collar that makes the transition from the pan to the to the drainage pipe. And all I can tell you is it's a remarkable system. It is really well thought out. I can tell you in the next home I build, what I'm going to do is the entire bathroom floor will be Schluter. And more importantly, I'm going to have a really neat bathroom where I've already engineered how it's going to be built, the flooring, to where the entire shower area is going to be depressed like a 1 inch lower or 3/4 of an inch lower than the rest of the room. And what's going to happen is when you walk into my master bathroom, you're just going to walk. The floor is going to be just completely smooth, and you're just walking to the shower. It might be glass block, or it might be just giant big glass panels, but there's not going to be a shower door. There's not going to be a curb, and I'm going to do all of it in Schluter. So that way there's nothing to trip over, and you can do this in your own bathroom model. It's not hard to do. And it's really interesting older technology when you think about it. If I could show you how I would, it's one of these things where back 40 years ago, I never realized how valuable some photographs would be, but I can draw it out, and I think I will do it. I'm going to show you. I wish I would have taken photos of what it's like, of what the tile setters did to the floor joist in these old bathrooms to get these mud floor systems to work, and how they made the tile floor in the bathroom flush with the wood floor out in the room. Have you ever thought how that was done? And if you've not seen the photos of how it was done, it was amazing. I think I will. I think I'll draw that up tomorrow. And it's just a shame I don't have the photos. I might put a plea out to my people on my newsletter list. I'm sure there's some remodelers on my list who might come across this and can take some really great photos. But I just wish I had those photos. So, answer the question, Schluter system, 2 thumbs up. Great, great product. But like anything else, you better read those instructions and you better follow them to the letter. No shortcuts. No, 0. All right. Okay, how about the heating system for the floor? Oh, well, I have photos on the website. Go back to askthebuilder.com and type into the search engine infrared, INFRARED photos. Just type in infrared photos. And there's a whole page I've got of a bunch of different infrared photos I've taken. And I have one of the master bathroom floor. And you can see the radiant heating under my bathroom floor. And I have to tell you, it is so nice. Before I put it in, what happened is the house did not have it. And I don't know, I was doing a bathroom remodel in the basement, and I had access to the ceiling under the master bathroom, and I was able to get access to the important part. I couldn't do the entire bathroom, but I was able to get this radiant piping, these transfer plates and the piping in the places where you walk, like in front of the toilet, in front of the sink, and as you walk into the shower. And I have to tell you, there's nothing like it. It's fantastic. Now, you can do hot water or you can do electric. Right here, right in my man cave where I am creating this live stream, this room is heated with a radiant floor heating system. It's an electric mat. And now this time I did do the right thing. If you go back to askthebuilder.com and type in, let's see, I'll do it. I'll find it and I'll give you the link right now. I'll do it. So I think it's radiant floor heating videos. I'm going to type in. And yeah, here we go. So I'm going to give you this quick start guide. And I think all 3 videos are on this page that I'm going to paste into the chat for you. I'm just checking it. I'm pulling up the page right now. I just all the videos are there. Come on, build out. Looks like they're going to be there. Yeah, I'm convinced they're there. So yes, I see them. All right. So you need to watch these videos. You need to watch all 3 of these videos. It's really pretty amazing. And this is a fantastic DIY system, by the way. Highway into Adventures. How you doing? Great that you're here. Thanks for stopping by. Go to that link that I just put in about the radiant. All I can see is askthebuilder.com radiant and then ... All right. I'm telling you, watch this video. This system, it's absolutely a DIY friendly project. The hardest part about the system that I put in, and you can master it, is the instructions said you have to embed the mat in some thin set. That makes sense. That's easy to do. But then to get the conductivity for it to really work well, you have to cover the mat with a 1/4 inch or 3/8 inch of thin set. Okay, so I did that, but I made mine probably a little too thick. So I would recommend that you make it a little thinner so that it's easier to spread, because then you're going to cover it with tile, or you're going to cover it with, in my case, I put laminate flooring down. But I'm here to, and I've got a right behind me, right here is the computer thermostat that controls the radiant flooring heating. And it's very cheap. I mean, it doesn't cost a lot of money to operate this room. But I'm just saying, great system. Mine's by New Heat. So NUHEAT, New Heat. And great system. So radiant floor heating, it's the best. You're welcome. Hey, Justin, how you doing? Great to see you. All right, so I'm going to be jumping out of here in just a few minutes. Boy, we got a lot of people viewing today. That's wonderful. You may wonder about my hat. You know, I haven't. This is the first time I've worn a hat, and what it says on there. So it says Airwaves Boss. So Airwaves Boss, and you can see the clue is right here. So I had my son do the graphics on this hat, and I told him what I wanted. And I think he did a pretty good job. I wish I would have chosen a different font because it's kind of hard to read. But I'm the chief of communications for the New England Forest Rally. It's a world-class racing event, and I'm in charge of like 40 or 50 ham radio operators. You know, that we provide all the safety communications for the race. And anyway, if you know anything at all about the U.S. Navy, especially aircraft carriers, you know that they have an air boss on the aircraft carrier, and they have a mini boss. The air boss is the person that's in charge of all of the operations whenever they're launching or retrieving aircraft. And it's a very, very, very important job. And so just go here onto YouTube and type in Air Boss, AIR, and then BOSS. But I just thought Air Waves Boss made more sense since we're doing radio signals, not airplanes. All right. Okay. Yeah. Isn't it wonderful? Your whole house in Germany has floor heating. Yeah, it's fantastic. My house here in New Hampshire, in the basement, it's all floor heating. In the first and second floor of the house, it's radiators on the outside walls, and they're very good. I mean, the radiant heating is just marvelous. It's so nice. I can't say enough good things about it. So, okay, I am going to be jumping off here. I'll be here tomorrow, and I don't know yet what I'm going to talk about. It won't be a new tool. I don't have any other new tools to show you. But thank you for the time that you spent on this mechanic set. It's, like I said, it's made in China, but I think it's a pretty good bargain. It's going to be tough to beat, is all I can tell you. And just watch the front part of the live stream if you didn't catch it, to see everything about that tool set. Yeah, radiators are also very nice. Yeah, we here in America, we had radiators in all of our homes. You go back to the houses, the old houses east of the Mississippi River here, in all the big old cities, and hot water heat and steam heat. That was it. That's what forced air was not. They didn't use forced air. Forced air heating only came into being for the most part because residential air conditioning was invented, became viable in the residential market just after World War II. But prior to that, it was radiant heating, and there was no central air. But once central air required ducting, and so the HVAC people, they were like, okay, well, we can use this to heat too. So that's why, that's why forced air, that's how it came to be for the most part. So anyway, all right. I went to, okay. You say it might be cool to see some old tools. Well, I have a bunch of them, so I might bring some of those out. That's a good idea. I can do that. All right, I'm gonna hit the road here. I want to thank you so much. Yeah, exactly right. Your house in Michigan has hot water. It's hot water heat is just fantastic. And what here, I'll just say this one last thing about it. So my 3 or 4 years ago, I put in a new boiler here in the house. My old boiler was old technology, and it was either, I'll tell you what it was like. It was like a rocket, most modern rockets or most rockets. Like when you light a rocket up, like the Saturn V for the most part, it's full on. I mean, it's it just goes. All right. There's no way to throttle it back. All right. So my old boiler was that way, meaning it when it came on, it just came on and 200,000 BTUs like a jet engine in there. Well, my new boiler is a modulating boiler. And a modulating boiler works a lot like the burner on your gas stove. So think about the gas burner on your stove. So if you turn it on and you just want something to simmer, you've got a very, very tiny flame. But if you want all that it's got, you want to boil some water really quickly, you've got this giant flame coming out. All right. So that's what modulating boilers do. They only, the flame is only as big as the demand for heat is at that point in time. So it can save you a ton of money. And in the first year that it was working in my home, it saved me about $800 in fuel. So I can't say enough good things about modulating boilers. So if you have to replace your boiler, make sure you get a modulating one. All right. Thanks for being here. I got to run. I got to go to this other call. I will be here tomorrow. We might have a couple of old tools and spread the word about the live stream. I really appreciate it. I'm Tim Carter, and you have been watching Ask the Builder.